Frank Wine at the Landmark Hotel, just been announced it's Derek Chisora versus Tyson Fury for the second time. What do you think yourselves and Derek Chisora have learned from that first fight?
Well, it's a long while ago. Actually, the fight will take place 3 weeks to the week on the 26th of July at the Phones for You Arena in Manchester than their last fight. So going into that fight, I think Tyson had about 15 or 16 fights and Derek had 13, so they were relatively novices. Since then, Tyson's obviously come on a lot. He's older, he's got more mature, and has worked out with some of the best fighters in the world, sparring and preparing. And Derek's been in some seriously good quality fights with some seriously good opposition. And more importantly, from Derek's point of view, he's finally learned about his preparation. The problems we had with his diet, we said now like 14, 15 months ago, that was addressed. So last year he got himself in some serious shape. He's coming in 2.5 stone lighter than certainly when he fought Tyson the first time round. So he's a fitter fighter. He's obviously himself is much more mature and much more, much better equipped, as is Tyson. So I think you've got the two of them have come on a lot, but more importantly, they've got a huge carrot there that the winner of this fight gets Vladimir Klitschko. You know, the WBO will install the winner as number one, so that means they become the mandatory challenger to Klitschko. Therefore, they've got everything to go for because, whatever way you want to look at it, Vladimir Klitschko has avoided both these fighters. In Derek's case, he pulled out twice against Derek, once the eve of the fight a couple of years ago, and then again a few months later. So Derek was got unfinished business with him, and Tyson obviously is very aggrieved that they weren't able to make the match. So basically what these two guys are doing are fighting for the right to fight Vladimir Klitschko.
And you mentioned Derek has fought Vitali, and was fought the likes of David Haye as well. How do you think those fights have helped Derek progress as a fighter, even though he lost them?
I think they're great experience for him, and as I say, again, his preparation for both those fights, the weight he was carrying, he's a different athlete now, and he's learned from those fights in more way one. Plus, he's got the experience being in with the best. Tyson's not fought at that level. He's not fought those type of guys yet. So. There's so many unknowns about this, and I was very disappointed the first time round with Derek's preparation, in as much what his weight was like when he fought Tyson. And I'm not taking anything away from Tyson Fury. He trained like a pro and deserved to win the fight. This time round, I believe it'll be a different fight altogether for both of them.
And Derek has kept himself active, whereas Tyson, of course, has been a bit inactive with the whole David Haye situation. Do you think that's a bit of an advantage for Derek, being active on a regular basis?
It may be, but the thing about that again wasn't Tyson's fault, was it? David Haye pulled out twice, so he trained very hard for the fight, and he obviously fancied himself in that fight, but it wasn't to be. So, what you can't take away from either of these guys, they're willing to fight the best. They're not shy. They're saying, whatever it takes for me to be a world champion, I want to do it. They're not going down the Deontay Wilder route, fighting, a lot of guys in Deontay's case who don't hit back. And I'm not taking anything away from Deontay Wilder. He's a very exciting and a fabulous addition to the heavyweight scene. He's a big puncher, but nobody's actually hit him on the chin yet. So who knows? This fight, the winner gets Klitschko and the loser gets Deontay Wilder.
And of course, the first fight was at Wembley. You said in the press conference you had talks with Upton Park to stage this fight. It's in Manchester. Were there any other venues talked about?
We took a couple of football stadiums, but the problem was that the World Cup coming up, so it kills sort of after the first Saturday in June. There aren't any dates, and it goes on for a month, and there's no way that we or anyone in boxing will want to be competing with the World Cup because it doesn't make sense. So that was one of the reasons we had to move it. Plus the fact that they announced the Groves and Frock fight in London, so we had to move it to an indoor arena because unfortunately getting to the 26th of July, it's too near the start of the football season, and it will obviously have an effect on the pitches.
And of course, Hughie Fury's fought on a few of Tyson's undercards recently. Are there any other fighters that we can see on the undercard for this show?
We're announcing the undercard in a couple of weeks' time, but it will be an exciting undercard with some other title fights on there.
That's great. Thank you so much, Frank.
Thank you very much.